How do you beat the odds as an entrepreneur and no matter what hurdles and struggles come your way, you still make it to the top? How do you even become a disruptor for different industries that are already in the billions of dollars? Today's episode, I have the privilege, the honor to interview my personal mentor and a man that has really set me up for the years to come. This is your Strategic Partner Podcast. Welcome to your Strategic Partner Podcast, where we give entrepreneurs the secrets, strategies, and processes to increase brand equity and max out revenue. Ladies and gentlemen, Ali Medawi, and guess what? Episode 20, 2020, 21. This is incredible. We're growing. And today I'm very, very excited because this is probably the most personal interview that I ever will have. This gentleman is not only a mentor, he's blessed my family and I with many incredible, not only opportunities, but to have a role model, someone who truly and genuinely taught me and my wife in a short period of time how to do life, how to live like an entrepreneur without having to compromise your quality of life, your core values, or anything. He is a disruptor. He's been in the business community for 25 years. He's set himself up and his family to be a difference maker, an impact, and a thought leader, if you will. And he disrupted the travel space, the health and wellness space, the financial services space, and now creating a brand new category in the business community, and that is the one and only Jimmy Ezzell. What's up, my man?
Hey, buddy. How are you? Thanks for having me on here.
Oh yeah, cool. So we're gonna try to keep this as formal as possible because we pick on each other a lot, for the most part. So I asked him to do me a favor and not pick on me as much. But hey, first of all, long time coming. I know I've had this channel running for a little while, but I had to wait for the right time in, and today was it. So do me a favor, if you don't mind, share with the listeners your personal story, and I fall in love with it every time I hear it because not only I am an immigrant, not only I come from nothing myself, so it was most relatable to me. But many people would hear a CEO of a company that is going public and doing the things that you're doing. They assume you've been set up as a superhero since the beginning. So why don't you share with us a little bit about your upcoming and background?
Yeah. So I always like to tell people I was made in the Philippines, raised here in America. And guys, I grew up in a blue collar, hardworking family. As a matter of fact, I remember so many times, because people know us as we own TripValet and they see us traveling, they see us, all these amazing resorts and traveling, first class and all this stuff, but they don't know that like that's not how it all started. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know what vacations were. I mean, seriously, I remember my mom and I, because once again, blue collar, hardworking family, right? My dad didn't make a lot of money. He was a mechanic. My mom hardly ever worked. And so I remember like on the weekends just running around to these local bars and collecting aluminum cans. I just thought that was a way of life. Like that's what we did. And so so imagine, a couple Asians running around collecting aluminum cans. And I remember going down the basement and seeing these big black trash bags full of aluminum cans. And we'd have finally enough. And my mom and dad would say, hey, let's go turn them in. We turn them in. And then we'd go about 50 minutes down the highway down to Worlds of Fun. And that's what I thought vacations were every year. I mean, just imagine all the year long, you're saving aluminum cans to go to an amusement park because that's all you can afford. And then, of course, that's of course changed over the years. But that was my lifestyle growing up. I remember going and Ali, my mom and I would go and have you ever earthworm hunt where you go and get earthworms and turn them in?
See, this guy was in Morocco by the time you were doing all this stuff, so I don't even
Yeah.
know what earthworms was.
Yes. So like when it rains, earthworms come up out of the ground. Well, you can go and you can collect them and you turn them into these places, and they pay you like $15 for a coffee can. So imagine a
Wow.
coffee can full of earthworms. Like most people don't know. I don't know if I've ever shared this story really, but
You
my
never
mom,
have.
yeah, my mom and I used to do that, and my mom was a master at it. If any of my other friends hear this, because they'll know the story because they kind of grew up doing the same thing. But yeah, no, this is how we made extra money. I started throwing newspapers, Ellie, at age 12. to bring extra money for my family. So when I say blue collar hardworking family, I mean I learned how to go hustle. Make like do most people aren't going to get out 10 o'clock 11 o'clock at night and go collect go get earthworms, right? And or go on the weekends and collect them when we can. And so that were some things that I learned early on about just the hustle. My parents taught me about work ethic. They taught me about love. I mean, there's a reason why I am who I am. And but yeah, that's a little bit of the backstory of like growing up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible. Just me knowing what I know about you, to hear about the cans, to hear about the newspaper, to hear about the earthworms. It tells me from an early age, one, you weren't afraid of trying different things. Two, you had this whatever it takes mindset. And, for anyone who knows you and knows about the challenges, one of your go-to songs is whatever it takes. How has that, or was there more that developed you into the whatever it takes mindset of, because I know you're a competitor, in anything that you do, you got to win. I played volleyball with this guy in Clearwater. He wanted to destroy like a 16-year-old kid who was trying to go to the other team. He's like, no, you're not part of this game. Get away. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. For those of you, I'm joking. No, but he is definitely competitive. So has those experiences, have those experiences implemented the competitor that is willing to do whatever it takes to make it?
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. I mean, there's no doubt, and I actually count them as huge blessings now because they were, that's just who I am. Now, there's a loving side to me, but there's also the side that just hates to lose. Like I hate losing more than I love winning, right? So I'm just one of those guys, and it's interesting because if you think about that history in my life or just my upbringing, when you don't have very much, it also set me up for some things that also, put me down a wrong path. And I thank God I switched out of it, like the corporate rat race, that if you know that story.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, no, it definitely, your upbringing can have an effect, negative or positive. I think that hustle because we were poor, Ali. I mean, we were poor. Like I mean, we had food stamps, we had government cheese. We were one of those families, right? I don't know if you've ever had that, but that was our family. Like
I
we
was
weren't.
homeless, so government cheese
Yeah,
would have been cool.
right. There you go.
So I do have to. So how does someone in those circumstances, in those upcoming, ends up being the one of the most and fastest successful executives in Reader's Digest, for example, was $1 billion company. I mean, give me that transformation, because a lot of people, and I'm sure you hear it as much as I hear it. Well, my dad didn't take care of me and I wasn't born into money. This is why my circumstances as bad as it is. So how does someone in those upcoming make it to $1 billion company in a role that you had?
Yeah. So here's the thing. I will just say my work ethic is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I'll give you an example. If you know my story, how I became successful in corporate America, my wife and I moved into a duplex. There's only 2 bedrooms, right, in this duplex. And one of them was my makeshift office when I got out of college. And I went into becoming an independent contractor for Reader's Digest. I would get up, Ollie, and put on like a suit, like go into the office and dress up. And I would make phone calls, practice and practice and getting phone calls, I mean, just go. And eventually I got a couple clients. And then I said, wait a second. I got a client. I'm going to invite everyone to, and I call everyone to come to that event. And I became and actually that year won rookie of the year. They couldn't believe this young punk college kid that just graduated, started kicking everybody's butt. But that work ethic was ingrained in me. Well, that carried all the way through my corporate career, got into entrepreneurship. I always say like, like what you lack in skill, right? You can make up it through activity and work. And that's been a motto for a long time. And I think it's just because when you're throwing newspapers at 5 a.m. from age 12 to college. So think about that. 6 years, cold. I mean, I lived in the Midwest, rain, snow, like freezing, because you can't just, you got to go throw newspapers every day. From 12 to college, I threw newspapers.
I'd
Making
say
two,
you have a strong arm, man. That's a lot of throwing.
Yeah, you know, and you're talking only making $200 a month.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, different times, huh? I mean, could you imagine doing that for $200 a month? So the example that you gave about putting a suit on and practicing phone calls, to some, it may sound radical. Like that is crazy, man. Like, so how radical do I have to be in order to attain success? Do I have to go through that very same experience that you've gone through? Or that was your circumstance and your specific story? Like, is there different variables, or overall, you got to be radical to win?
I think there's got to be something where like there's something just drives you more. Like guys, like I never, you know, once again, my family was an entrepreneurial family. My dad was, you know, a mechanic. So like for me, I had to get radical. Like I didn't have anything else to model after. You know, yes, I started getting, as you start to become, you know, I won rookie of the year, right? Right out of, you know, first year out of college, right? Let me get a step back. Here's how I got that position. I'm the money making chairman for my fraternity. And I, of course, eventually became president of that fraternity. I'm the money making chairman of my fraternity. And I go and I hear about this fundraiser where you can, you know, sell books, right? And I'm like, wow. So I literally, my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna plaster the campus. So I got sororities involved. I put stuffers in every teacher's mailbox. I mean, all the professors' mailboxes, all throughout campus. I had everybody engaged, and we sold like $4,000 plus worth of books. And they're like, oh my gosh, like the regional manager at that time for them comes in and goes, what, dude, how did you do all this? And I just told him, I said, and then he said, of course, he offered me the position, the territory down in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so it was just that because I think there was just something about work, like I'm not afraid of it. And all these, you know, now, like I'm that way now. Like I'm just always been that way. And I think it started because, you know, I had to hustle when I was younger.
You know, it's crazy. You remind me of a story. So I was working. This is when I came to the States in 2002, and I'm working in TGI Fridays. I'll eat a busboy Friday night, and there was this kid Iquan. Yeah, I mean, he and I would bump heads all the time. You know, my English was still broken, and you know, he would just take advantage of me the whole time. Like, just have me clean up his section, and he would leave early. You know, and I'll never forget, there was some paper or something that was under the table, you know, and the manager goes like, "Guys, can you just pick that up for me?" And then he turned. He was like, "That's not my job. I don't pick garbage from the floor." I actually crawled under the table and I picked it up, and I understood enough. The manager, he said, "You're gonna go places if you stay with that attitude. Your humility is incredible." Like, I'll never forget that. Like I understood enough, and I look back, you know, talk about how radical is radical. Like, for some people, that level of I'm gonna humble myself, go down and pick up that piece of garbage that somebody threw on the floor, that had a lot to do with me being where I am in my life right now. So, yeah, that was spot on. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, stick with us. We're going to take a quick break. After we come back, we're going to get a little bit more personal with Jimmy Ezzell, the husband, the father, and the man that he is today. We'll be right back. Are you a hopeful or struggling entrepreneur? We'd like to introduce you to YEP, an entrepreneurial community that has expanded over 6 continents and helped over 5,000 individuals. The Young Entrepreneur Project would allow you to start, scale, or grow your business at the level you desire by providing you with a library of unlimited trainers and modules, a marketplace where you can lower all of your expenses, increase your capital, and even the opportunity to become a contributor, a speaker, and a trainer, or even get paid to mentor others within the platform. Learn more today at winwithali.com. Hey, Ali Madawi here, your strategic partner, and we are back with the man amid the legend, Jimmy Ezzell. We talked about a whole lot about your upcoming, Jimmy, and I want to just kind of take a little bit of a pivot, which was your favorite word of 2020. Let's talk about Jimmy Ezzell, the man, the husband, the father. In the eyes of the masses and the community that is out there, you are a man of faith. And I genuinely look up to you in many, many ways because of that. You are definitely a man of family. And, you know, from the surface, again, you know, it looks like perfect. Came straight out of heaven and just started walking down here. But I know there were some learning lessons, to say the least, some experiences that have happened that turned you into the man that you are today. What can you tell the listeners about what you've learned from life overall? And some of the examples that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to make mistakes to become who you are as a better human being, which you're continuing to grow, of course. But please, anything you want to share with us?
Yeah, well, I'll share this with you. I've been on an incredible journey of faith as well, like trusting God more and more, and especially just within even the last 3 years, I've seen my faith just grow like crazy. I'm inside of the I'm in this men's group that was orchestrated by God, put me together with those guys. Um, I'll share with you that also my marriage. There was a time, if you don't know, I was in corporate America, and there was a time in my marriage where I was very focused on money, had a huge pride and ego because I was this young hotshot guy. So I started as working for Reader's Digest and excelled, as an independent contractor basically, and just rookie of the year, rep of the year, and then they lured me into corporate America, right? And so I was on that journey of like you when you're in your 20s, you're just like if you're crushing it and you're making more money. Remember, blue collar hardworking family. I was making. I mean, there was a year I made several years ago I was making over $200,000 a year. So that back then that's it's pretty good money. I
Even
mean,
now, for someone young, that's a lot of money.
I was, I remember built this beautiful home, and so all that stuff got into my ego. Probably almost cost me my marriage, and I always tell like guys, especially because I spend a lot of time with guys and counseling them is like just be careful of all that. Be careful of that trap, right? Be careful of just chasing what the world thinks that is going to be good for you because it really wasn't for me. And a lot of times we see it's not good for most people.
When did you get saved?
I got saved my junior year in high school at a Young Life camp.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was it like a firm commitment to the ministry, like you are now, or did you have to go through your journey of, I'm still young, let me figure it out and I'll get back to you?
Yeah, no, no, no. I was saved my junior year, but then I went to college, was in fraternity,
Uh,
and I'm not going to tell you about all those stories just because my kids.
we'll edit that part.
Yeah, but no, no, for sure. I've been on a journey.
Right.
I've had some addictions I've had to deal with,
Yeah.
which have been blessings because I've been able to help a lot of other men get through some of that stuff, and so I'm just thankful, Ollie, that there was no decision that I wasn't forgiven for or that cost me my wife and my family today.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm super thankful. Like that's why I'm so loyal to my wife. Like is because she put up with me, the Jimmy Ezzell that's not the one you see today. Like the ego, pride, chase some money, not would step on you to because whatever that was. Even though I was good at leading people even back then, still wasn't the same where it's genuinely now where I really want to serve people, you know, and see them grow. Back then it was about me. It was about me.
What changed? I mean, how, when was the moment that something clicked for you? Like, what was it?
Well, first of all, there was a time where I almost lost my family. And it's interesting because it actually happened through my journey of entrepreneurship, like being in corporate America. Here's the thing about associations. We talk a lot about that, right? I have to be careful because, someone might hear this, but I had someone that I used to work for that was just a bad example. Like he thought it was okay to cheat on his wife and tell us about it. Like
Yeah.
his junior executives, right? So think
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Like that's really bad. And so when it was at that time when I was chasing money and not really close to God, um, there the story of when Nikki told me that Ashley was having a rough week.
Right.
That I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. I was actually at the corporate office doing a 3-year plan as an executive, and my family is falling apart. and I was making great money, but I realized like, wait a second, this isn't what this is not going to be good. And and thankfully some things changed, but I could have been down a different path. I count my blessings there because you think about it, you might not know Nikki Ezzell, Ashley or Courtney or Joey, right?
Yeah.
Well, that was in my 20s, so I already had Ashley and Courtney, but you might not know Joey. So it's crazy. I look back and I'm just very, very thankful that nothing really bad happened,
Yeah.
you know.
No, thank God. I totally agree with you on that. I had my the first 7 years of marriage are usually the hardest because that's where you're learning to coexist with one another. Once you make it past that, as I was told by my in-laws, once you make it past the 7 year mark, everything you've done in the first 7 years, you need to do it all over again every single day for the remainder of that of that marriage. And it is true. I had to I had to have a moment where I never forget. June of 2013 came to my wife, on 14 rather, came to my wife and I said, I promise you, I will never make you secondary in anything I do. You'll be my first from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, and it'll always be that way. And that's how it's been. Thank God. Do you think entrepreneurship had an impact on the personal growth and the focus that you've developed in order to become the man that you are as well, or was it the man that made the entrepreneur?
No, 100% personal growth. I remember um, Doug gave me this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I read that book, and it was like, whoa, like because I was in corporate America, and I really because even when you're an independent contractor, you don't really understand. Like back then, I didn't really understand what entrepreneurship was. And when I read that book, it made me like a bunch of things were going on in my mind. Like, this is how I get out of the rat race, the corporate job, situation and I'm not knocking corporate jobs. I'm just saying that in my personal situation. And so, I remember Les Brown and Jim Rohn. I remember in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, at that event, and they started. The first time I'd ever been to one of those things, and I remember like, whoa, like, man, for things to change, I got to change. For things to get better, I must get better. I've got greatness within me. I mean, I can remember they were much younger back then, but I just remember it still today. And then I meet Dr. John C. Maxwell, who became a mentor, and I invested in his private stuff, and just, and so that became the journey. And I love it. I love it today. I mean, as you know, I'm 225K masterminds. And so I just love growing because honestly, I'm probably only operating at about 12% of my capacity, if that. That's how I look at it. You and I were just talking about this, but, even before this, like I just want to get so much better,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It's interesting. You've mentioned those names, the Zig Ziglars, the Les Brown, the John C. Maxwells. In this generation nowadays, everybody has access to them, in their cell phones. What do you think the difference is or was between someone like the world, especially in entrepreneurs, direct sales specifically? There's no excuse of not being exposed to personal growth. What is the differentiator from your professional or personal opinion from that person who takes personal growth seriously and goes through that growth, or that person who just watches it and just gets right back to it, like to whatever the norm was? Like, what do you think if you were to put an evaluation to it?
Well, I would say this has grown over the years because now, like every minute I value, like I don't just do personal growth to do personal. I want to grow from it and learn from it, apply it in my life. So it's different. But when I first started, I just immersed into it, and it made you feel good and challenge you. But now it's like, okay, not only does it make me feel good and challenge me, but I want to take action on what I learned. And so I think that's been the big difference as you grow, because you can only, we talk about the law of the lid, right? And in my role, where I'm at in my life, not only lead my wife, not only lead my family and my grandsons, and even people in my church, but now of course in our business, is that I've got to continue to grow. For us to achieve what we want to achieve, and in terms of impacting people, I have to continue to grow. It can never stop now.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. It's like a car. You got to put that oil, you got to put the gas, you got to put the right fuels. Otherwise, might as well just park it and and walk. Yeah. So stick with us. We're gonna take one more break. When we do come back, we're gonna do everything in our power to extract as many golden nuggets from Jimmy Ezzell that KFC is gonna sue us. So we'll be right back. Hi, my name is Ali Midawi, and I have spoken at over 500 conferences in 3 languages, including TEDx and many Fortune 100 companies, sold books in 7 countries, and I focus on helping struggling entrepreneurs to leverage social media and the digital space to create brand equity and revenue. Visit me today at winwithali.com and let me show you how we can grow your financial bottom line and help you expand with momentum. Hey, Ali Midawi here, your strategic partner podcast, and we are still with the one and only Jimmy Ezzell. Jimmy, we've covered a whole lot from the past and from what made you the man that you are today. I'd like to turn you into a teacher right now, real quick, and I'm gonna try to do our listeners a favor and get as many nuggets from you as possible. First things first: reading or listening to audiobooks?
Reading or listening to
Yeah.
audiobooks?
What is the go-to?
Listening to
Listening to
audiobooks?
audiobooks better? That's
Yeah.
that's your go-to? Okay. Why? Why not? Like, what's the difference between for you? What's more efficient?
Oh,
Reading?
I thought that was a trick question. You said reading or listening audiobooks.
Oh, I wasn't setting you up if you listen to my audiobook. I was just asking, which by the way is available in winwithali.com. You can complimentary right now, download it.
No,
Shameless.
actually, I'm a reader. I'm a
Oh, so
reader.
you are a reader. Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
why do
So,
you
so
think
here's the
reading
deal.
is more impactful? Go ahead.
Well, first of all, I like to highlight, so I'm a
Yeah,
highlighter,
right.
and no, that's how I learn. I'm more of a reader. I'll give you an example. In s- in 6th grade, I knew I had read a ton of books, like a ton of books, and like I was checking out books and reading like crazy every week in 6th grade. And and you know how you go up and you get your reading certificate back
Mm-hmm.
in grade school?
Mm-hmm.
So Mrs. Stoffer doesn't call my name. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? I'm like sitting there, everyone else is going up. And she goes, now I saved this last child or kid, whatever she called me, for a reason, because he read so many books that we he read so many books that we want to especially recognize him. I can't even remember them. It's been so long. But I've always been a reader. And seriously, I remember reading like 3 to 5 books every week on top of everything else. I mean, I was just always reading, and I loved history, and I'm a reader, and I will tell you this though, because of podcasts, I listen to podcasts today quite often too. In the car, and then also when I walk, and not as much working out anymore, unless I'm like in the spa or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm both.
Yeah. How much do you love your strategic partner podcast? So which one is your favorite episode?
I would have to say this one.
All right. Good answer. Good answer. All right, cool. In terms of the best way for you to learn, short sessions or 3-day masterminds, which would be like, I prefer, like, what is your go-to and why?
No, short sessions for me, just because I like to learn and then reflect and then apply it.
Got
Yeah.
you. In terms of, if there was one thing that you say I have to focus on for the next 90 days to learn and better, what would be the one thing? I mean, there's usually more than one, but what is that one go-to? I really have to master this one thing and why?
For me personally, or
Yeah,
for
no,
yeah,
up
for
to
me
you.
personally, it's actually raising my team, raising the level of aptitude, capacity for my team.
Incredible. How do you have the conviction that you're going to win in business? Meaning, there's a little bit of faith, there's a little bit of planning, there's a little bit of, what usually happens behind the scene. But deep inside, when you speak, you have this conviction that we're going to make it. I know what the end result is going to be. How do you have that? And for the person listening that says, I don't get it. I don't see me being a successful entrepreneur. How is that relevant to them?
Well, I'll tell you, I've had to rewire my thinking. When you grow up and you understand work ethic, but you might not have the big dreams and goals. And then I think what's happened to me, and I'm so huge into this powerless thing, right? I've been stacking wins for a while, Ali. And so when you start getting winning streaks, you just listen. It's not it's a little bit of an invincible mentality, but it's also one of just your posture, like the posture of, okay, listen, I know like what 2021 is going to shape out of if I do my power list every day, because those are critical tasks that move me forward. I just know it. Like I can predict what's going to happen this year, right? In terms of that, I can't predict like some health and whatever,
Right.
but what I'm saying is though, like when you're so focused on the day to day, it just stacks up, and that's what's been happening, for several years now.
Yeah, you've been able to attract the shark, original shark from Shark Tank himself, Kevin Harrington. You've been able to attract Steve Mandel, a mogul in the entertainment and gaming. You've been able to attract the leading person in the expansion of the UFC, Livia Fish and Kane. You've been able to attract James Malinchak from ABC Hit Millionaire. You've been able to attract Michael Wallenstein from recruiter.com. The man is on CNBC and all these different shows. What is your secret, dude? Like, how are you, picking these high heavyweight champions and bringing them into, the community and the journey that you are in?
Yeah, Ali, I wouldn't say it's like luck, right? I think once again it goes back to that. One, I do want to bring value to the marketplace, value to people, and I think people pick that up a little bit. Like they just watch you over and over. Like you can tell, who's been consistent. And I think just doors open up. Like here's what I know. Good. Like I want like I'm so committed helping people win. If I've been watching them, like I'm willing to help them get a door, like open a door for them. Like they brought value to my life, that you just see them. And I think that's what's happening now. Like, my wife said, like, honey, you've been working so long, so hard. You deserve what's happening now. And so I think that if you just like none of us know when that big thing or that connection or that opens the door, is going to happen. But I think if you just stay consistent, right? You keep working on yourself, you keep opening doors, you keep taking care of other people, that the law of reciprocity will come back and help you.
Incredible. We're gonna fast forward. I'm talking about the good Lord said it's your time, Jimmy. And then you're looking back. Here comes Jimmy the angel, and you're looking back at everything that you've left and you've done. What are you looking at?
I see a couple. I will see a lot of things actually. One, I just see that God is smiling, saying, "Hey, well done, good and faithful servant." That'll be the most important thing. Um, Two, I see my grandsons and great grandsons like, wow, Papa Ezzell worked hard and built a great legacy for our family. Um, I see couples going, wow, that's how a marriage should be. And I see a lot of people in our business going, that's an incredible legacy. And that's what I see. I see some of that.
Well, we believe it, and we believe in you. And ladies and gentlemen, you may hear him. You hear the passion in his voice. I I uh, I got some tears out of Mr. Ezzell, but I appreciate you. I kindly am grateful for you, for what you represent, for what you are doing, for allowing me to be your sidekick in your journey in a way. I'm grateful for that. I don't take that lightly, for allowing me to beat you in our chubby hubby challenge. I just want to make sure that everybody knows we have a challenge between now and June, we're going in our founders trip in Jamaica. And one of us is wearing a T-shirt that says "Chubby Hubby," meaning the person who did not lose weight, did not take care of his body. You wear large, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, we're large.
I got you with the T-shirt. Don't worry about
But don't forget, we have someone else.
I don't do the thing of talking behind people's backs. So, Mr. Laurel Winfield, if you're listening, he said that you're gonna be wearing the
No,
chubby.
I just said I was saying there's three of us.
But I can't. But you cannot mention a third person without respectfully saying their name. So, Mr. Winfield, just text me your size if you don't mind, and we'll send you 2 T-shirts. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you're smiling from ear to ear and loving Mr. Ezzell. I'm grateful that you've upgraded my platform, and you make me feel like I just literally had the ultimate superstar. And I have a feeling years from now we're gonna listen to this episode and we're gonna be laughing at ourselves. What were we thinking? But at the same time, that very very last part that you shared about a legacy move, I think we're going to live through that for a very, very long time. So thank you. I appreciate you and everything that you represent. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been an exclusive interview for your strategic partner podcast. And keep in mind, if you are a struggling entrepreneur looking to enhance your digital and social media skills, feel free to join and visit winwithali.com. Plus, we can educate you about our entrepreneurial community so you too can be an influencer, a speaker, a trainer, or anything that you've ever wanted to do as an impactful thought leader. With that, hey, Mr. Ezzell, tell them peace out, everybody.
Peace out, everybody.